As you said, my name is Jazeer Najamuddin. I'm involved with a lot of Muslim community organizations and also local council and other organizations in this area. And one of my passions is trying to bring different parts of the Muslim community to come together where there's opportunity, especially on issues like obviously Palestine. Now we see the protests and everybody coming together. There are other issues like the legal issues we face with the media and the way they speak about Muslims, Islamophobia, all of these areas. When we are together, we are much stronger. There are people within our Muslim community who are very influential, and sometimes we don't know who they are. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm not influential. There are other people who are very influential, very wealthy, so many different, parts of the community not talking to each other. So, inshallah, that's what a passion for me is to bring everyone together. Now, I did get a chance to go to Indonesia, and that's because I was part of the Australia-Indonesia Muslim Exchange Program. And this program is funded by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Australian Commonwealth Government. And it brought 5 leaders from the Muslim community. They took them to Jakarta, Yogyakarta, and Makassar, and tried to get us to meet with civil society groups and understand society. So not like a tour, not like just a tourist thing, but we met with NU, Muhammadiyah. We went to the universities, met with professors. They taught us about Pancasila and the foundations of Indonesians. Yes, Ron Gould. Yeah, so it's a beautiful program. And even subsequently, I had a chance to go with the Malaysia-Thailand program as well. So that's how, I knew about the community here, but that was the real introduction to, Indonesian society. It's, beautiful. And Australians here, you have no idea how there is that multiculturalism and so much happening in Indonesia. Here, everyone just thinks it's just only Muslims, but we got to go to some churches and temples and see that as well. So the Muslim Legal Network, what is it about? Muslim Legal Network is a professional association of Australian Muslim lawyers and law students. We have lawyers from all different cultural backgrounds, all different practice areas. Some of them are policy workers in the Victorian and Australian government. So alhamdulillah, it gives us a chance to achieve a lot of different things in different ways. What can they do? So I don't want to talk too much about the professional side. I want to talk about the community side. So from a community aspect, the MLN has a legal referral service. So if you have any legal issue and you're not sure yet whether you want to go to your local lawyer, if you're not sure if you want to spend money, maybe you have someone in your community who you can ask for some advice. But if you don't, or if it's an area that they do not practice in, you can email referral@muslimlegalnetwork.com, and you will get a referral to potentially free services if they exist. So if you've been dismissed from your work unfairly because you're a Muslim, because you said free Palestine in an email or something, right? Then you can come to us and we can connect you with the right regulatory organizations that can help you for free. And if it falls in one of the gaps where the Australian government or legal center can't help you for free, then we can connect you to, inshallah, a Muslim lawyer who can help you. And if there's no Muslim lawyer who can help you, then we'll connect you to a very specialized non-Muslim lawyer who we have a connection with, who will be able to assist. So that's the way our legal referral service operates. And as an anecdote, recently, it's so sad and disappointing. A civil society organization that is focused on domestic violence, ending domestic violence. So they're very feminist, they're very left-leaning, progressive organization. After 2 days of a sister who was working there, specialized in this area of work, she spoke to a colleague about, this organization, this business that you're going to go to tonight, where you're going for dinner tonight, they actually supply meals to the Israeli army. And maybe you should think about, not going there, going to a different one. That lady reported her to her direct line manager. And within 2 days, that person was basically sent home and said, we think you're not capable of keeping your political opinions to yourself. This is, we can't have this here. What if someone is Jewish and they feel upset? It's not right to do this. So she came to us. We've connected her firstly with the regulatory organizations, a Fair Work Ombudsman, Fair Work Australia, Fair Work Commission and Fair Work Ombudsman, Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission. And then on top of that, I reached, because I'm also very active with the ICV, Islamic Council of Victoria, and we have all the other, community leaders are in these groups. So I put it in there and I said, look, something happened. Who has done work with this organization before? And alhamdulillah, one of the former ICV presidents, who is currently working with that organization as the main Muslim organization working with them, he said, we had something to do with them. Tell me what happened. So they're going to talk internally. So they're going to deal with it in that angle. At the same time, we're going to continue dealing with it with the regulator. Regulators can take time, right? That they have to assess and all this stuff. This angle is very, very strong. You can get a quick outcome, maybe an apology in 1 week. So this, alhamdulillah, this is the way we're trying to deal with it. The other side of what the MLN does for the community is legal education workshops. So recently we did a legal education workshop through Zoom on employment law and defamation law in the context of the Palestine conflict. Those are the two main issues. You say something at work and then they try to get rid of you because of it. That's employment law issues, unlawful dismissal. There are legal recourse for that. And then the other side is you said something, or someone says something about you, someone calls you a terrorist, that's where defamation law can come in and where you can take them to court and achieve justice. You also need to understand defamation law in order to speak about Palestine and say things in the right way so that you're not saying a lie, because we are Muslims anyway. We don't want to lie, because one of the main defenses to defamation law is truth. And if you can prove it's true, they can't sue you for defamation. The second one is a qualified opinion. So you can also, where you are saying something and this is your opinion about a topic, it's not saying this happened, but this is how I feel about it. And so these are the things we went through in our legal education workshop. And alhamdulillah, the sister that came to us, she attended the workshop, and then that's how she knew she could reach out to us and we could help her. So those are the two things. I'm very happy to come and organize something with the Indonesian community, get a community together and talk. And perhaps the brother can also join us on the panel and you can share your experiences as well. Another thing is so Wyndham City Council has an anti-racism project, and they recently invited me to speak because I organized an event called Dismantling Islamophobia and Racism. Every time you hear about racism these days or Islamophobia, all they talk about is how can we help the victim? Can we get them support? Tell them about this organization that can help them, give them psychological support. We never talk about how do we hold the racist accountable. That's a huge gap in the non-people of color discourse. Right? We need to raise that question. So my entire speech was really about how when I was 15 years old, working at a KFC, a person came and said, basically go back to where he came from because of soggy chips. Because he got soggy old chips from the KFC. He decided that was enough to say, this brown guy, it's because he's not from here. So I said, okay, that's fine. And my colleagues were great. They were supportive. But then, how many other people has this guy gone on to abuse? Because nobody held him accountable, right? So this is what I'm passionate about in the Islamophobia space, because the police, for example, there's a Victorian Muslim Police Association. One of the sisters on the MLN board, she's a former police prosecutor. She's a Muslim convert, so she's Aussie convert. And she's very passionate about trying to bridge the gap with the police as well. And the police have something called prejudice-motivated crimes. So there are like little technical things that we really need to know in order to be able to hold people accountable. The other, there's a couple more aspects. So I don't want to labor the point, but there's another organization that me and a number of young people in the area co-founded. It's called Activate Youth. The purpose of this organization is because, as we can see, like most of our Muslim community organizations, when we have the masjids and community events, it's the older generation that comes. Mostly is the older generation. Younger generation is like, oh no, I want to play video games, or I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Right? Sorry? In the mall, I'm going to go to the mall. It's boring. That's the big challenge. So the purpose of Activate Youth was to create the kind of events that they want to go to, but in a Muslim environment. So everyone on the board is a young Muslim, all professionals, PhDs, lawyers, doctors on the board, but sort of 20 to 30, 20 to 35 age range, and targeting the young Muslim community. But we need your help because you are the parents, you are the leaders of your communities. If you tell them come to the mosque for this, talk, maybe they won't come. But if you say there is the Eid festival run for young people, young Muslims, maybe they will go. So that's the angle we're targeting. And we have two major events coming up, which we already got funding for. And inshallah, we'll work with all the different community organizations because we don't want to run like Activate Youth, run this event. No point, right? What's the point? Because Activate Youth can get maybe 100 people, but then 1,000 people here, 1,000. We need to get all the people together that can benefit. So the Eid festival that we organized last year was at the Point Cook pop-up park. I don't know if you've been there, but in Point Cook town center, there's a big shopping center. There's a closed off area right in the middle. And we had Salat, we had Quran, everything happening at that center as an Eid festival. And we also had stalls for the community. So we invited the Australian Malay Foundation, IREA, Brother Wasim Razvi and the IREA organization to do dawah. So we got all of them together rather than just, and it was a very successful event, alhamdulillah. So the mayor turned up and all the local non-Muslim community was there as well. So alhamdulillah, we got the job to do it again and bigger, inshallah, this year. So I'm hoping Baitul Makmur and your community can be a big part of that, just like all the other communities. That's one big event coming up. The second event we organized is called Be You, Be True. So this is a bit more on the entertainment side, like singing, like nasheed, art. So we had live art on stage. A sister who's very good at art, she was doing it live on stage. We had nasheeds from a number of different brothers, rap. So all the stuff the young generation want, but organized by a Muslim organization with a Muslim lens and inviting all the parents to come. So it's a dinner. It's like a dinner event with a big stage. You bring your parents, you bring your family along as well, and you both kind of watch and talk about what they're interested in. Because most of the time we are the parents, we have the power, we talk about what we want to talk about, and they just be quiet and they go away and talk to their friends, right? So this is a chance to do that, bridge that gap. So inshallah, that's another event. Hopefully, if you have young people in your community who are leaders who want to get involved in something, that's something I hope they would like to join us for. And obviously, there's also business opportunities there. So if anyone wants to have a stall, you've got your own business, you want to have a stall there, please. It'd be beautiful to have Indonesian food there as well, because we didn't have any last time. If anyone lives in Truganina, and I'm also involved in the Truganina Residents Action Group, that's all about local resident advocacy. So why are they not building a shopping center? Or they told us they're going to build a shopping center. Now they're building 5 big 7-story apartments. Why is this happening? That's what that's about. So if anyone lives in the Truganina area, please get in touch with me about the Truganina Residents Action Group, because we have very strong connections with at least 50% of the councillors in the Wyndham City Council. And we're pushing very hard to make sure that Truganina as a suburb isn't forgotten. Because Point Cook is very good at activation. The community is active. But the Truganina community is a bit quiet. Even Williams Landing and Truganina community, too busy. Children, work, these things, too busy for local activism. But then you end up, it's your home. And then in 10 years' time, you end up with a whole area full of apartment blocks. And the next door suburb is the one with the fancy swimming pools and hospitals and everything else. So inshallah, that's another area that I'm working in. So if anyone is involved in that space, please reach out. But that's really a bit of a summary of the work that I do, and happy to work with anybody, any organizations. Does anyone have any questions about any of that?
Ada yang mau bertanya, ibu-ibu?
Nggak ada tuh yang gini mah. Apa lagi jalan-jalan aja. Bisnya naik apa?
All good. All right. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair, Brother Jazeer. I think those points that you mentioned, we pretty much need, that information. Sometimes when we are faced with Islamophobia issues or issues regarding Palestine, for example, we don't know where to go if there is any problem with work, or if we are facing dismissal because of what we said or what we share on the group chat. So I think that it's really useful for us, inshallah. And I also interested with the work that you do with the youth. Yeah, because we have the youth group within the Masjid Baitul Makmur, which we are trying through Brother Aji. Brother Aji is the head of the Masjid committee. Yeah, and he's working very hard with the youth to get the youth involved in any activities or program that we are doing. Every Friday night we have a youth session. Maybe one Friday you can come here and talk to the youth. Yeah, just give them motivations on that they need to be active in the community. And I think to hear something from you with your legal expertise, your experience, especially you've been to Indonesia, that will be wonderful for the youth. So inshallah, ya, ibu-ibu, bapak-bapak sekalian, ada pertanyaan, ada mau kontak Brother Jazeer, saya bisa share numbernya. Dan juga saya rasa in terms of the work that you can do with our lawyers, Professor Denny Indrayana, that would be a good opportunity going forward, inshallah. Ya, Kang Den, mangga. Thank you, President. Mr. Sir, I'm Sifi, Brother Andre, Brother Wazir. Seems like it is implied if I didn't say anything, especially because I am the lawyer, not the liar. I make this joke always with my friends. You remember this movie, The Liar? I forgot the title though. So yes, I just started practicing last year. I got my license. So when you say free, that will be my competitor. Free services. Wow, this is not good. So integrity, my friend name is integrity. Basically, I'm very interested with what you just said, and I think one thing that we can cooperate together. One that I would mention is I have one of my lawyers actually. I try to bring. I have 30 in Indonesia and here, and because I just started last year, I have this program to bring them here, have this international experience, and one is actually here. He's now doing English course, but he said, I think I need more because his English actually better than the other classmates. So we are looking for, interaction with the organization, legal aid or whatever. And seems like that maybe I invite him to come. His name is Tarek, and, he tried to contact legal aid, other organization, but so far it's been 2 or 3 weeks. No opportunity yet. Maybe LMN will be one of the open options for him because he wants to learn more about Australian legal system, because now currently he's helping me not only for Indonesian work but also for Australian works. But of course, because we just start, we need more, cases. We need more engaging with the clients. Currently, we are doing some working assignments, clients, but we need more. So that's one thing. But the other thing, maybe let's discuss it while we are eating. That's the most important part. You should try. I don't know if you have tried Indonesian food currently. Maybe in Western, but not in Baitul Makmur. This is one of the best. I promise you. So let's talk while we are, enjoying the food, the meals, and thank you for coming.
Oh, okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As the employee of the Australian government, so we cannot oppose the Australian government relation related to the Israel, right? Israel political situation. So how we going to respond if, for example, in the office, to the Muslim employee when someone asks you about that? How are we going to respond in a wise way? So we're not going to hurt. We don't want to be also like is attacking yourself as you're a Muslim, and personally, I don't want to get involved and I don't want to attack the government as well.
That's a really
Thank you.
That's a really good question. And I say that as having worked in the Australian Commonwealth government for 10 years. I just left and I've moved into local government now, which is slightly less, politically difficult to have opinions. But I worked for the Australian Commonwealth government for many years, and it is difficult to have a political opinion. I think what you need to focus on, and this is the way I do it as well, is you focus on people like Francesca Albanese, who is a representative of the United Nations, saying things on behalf of the United Nations. It's very difficult for somebody to take action against you for quoting the UN Special Rapporteur for the Palestinian occupied territories, in what your opinion is. You say, look, I think I agree with the United Nations, Francesca Albanese. This is what she said. That's sort of the way you can get around having to deal with political opinion. So there was a famous case of Banerjee with the immigration detention stuff. She was working for the Department of Immigration, and she was anonymously tweeting very strong criticism of the Australian government's immigration policy, justifiably so. But even though she did it anonymously, because it was very strongly against the Australian government policy, she was terminated, and her termination was found to be valid. So you don't want to go saying, this is my opinion, and I believe the Australian policy is 100% wrong. What you want to say is, this is the opinion of the United Nations, and I think they might be right. This is what they said. Or this is what Human Rights Watch said. Here is a quote. You can Google this stuff. You can just go Google Human Rights Watch statement on genocide of Palestine and quote verbatim what they said. This is what they said. I think that sounds more reasonable than the Australian government position. Nobody can fire you for that. And if they do, you'll have better grounds for unlawful termination. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brother Jazeer. Ya. Oh, ada lagi? Ya, ibu-ibu silakan. Ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Just a question, Brother Nazir. What got you involved? And also how do you get yourself involved to work for the government? Really, what we wanted to see is the youth, of who are living here, to get involved with politics, only because the only way to change or to make it easier, because we live here, is for us, Muslims, to get involved in politics. I mean, how do you, what's the best way to get into politics, and also to work with the government for our youth? Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Sure. That's also a very, very good question. This is always good. Always have the most, complex questions, but it's very, very good question. Working for the government and getting into politics, I see as very, very different things. Because getting into politics, the pathway is usually through community work and volunteering, like organizations like Activate Youth. Any kind of youth platforms for young people are a great platform to launch into politics. because you get to talk to the youth minister. Everybody wants to give money to the youth. All these sort of issues. As Muslim Legal Network, nobody wants to give money to lawyers. Most MPs don't want to talk to lawyers. It's a difficult conversation. So community work is a good tool. Baitul Makmur, for example, your young people who potentially have a future in politics should join the board, should join committees, lead committees. You should put them to speak and MC at your major events if you have the mayor or MPs coming here. That is how they will get that platform to get involved. And in that way, then what you do is, as Baitul Makmur or your president, you kind of go and when you have the meetings with the MPs and stuff, or they tell you, oh, come for iftar, they invite you for the iftar and all that. Then you say, look, we have some young leaders in our community. They want to be involved in politics. Can they join you as an electorate officer? That is the most common pathway, electorate office. The other angle, if you want to go down the labor route, is unions. So join the local union, become an organizer, climb that. I personally haven't gone down either of those routes because probably, I don't know, it just hasn't happened for me. I'm very active in the Muslim community instead. But those are the two common pathways of politics. Working in local government is similar to working in anywhere else. But I have worked in the Commonwealth government, the Victorian government, and now local government as well. So if anyone is interested, I'm happy for you to refer them to me, and I can help them work out where their skill set might fit, what organization, what tier of government their interests might suit, because then you just apply, or you speak to people who are already working in government. So anyone who's interested in local government, in working in government, get onto LinkedIn. Find out, if you want to work for the Fair Work Ombudsman because you want to fight against underpayment of wages to employees by employers, for example. If you're very specific, just find that organization, go on LinkedIn, see who's working there, see if you can find a Muslim who's working there and say, look, I'm interested in, working for this kind of an organization. Can we have a coffee? You tell me a bit about what it's like. What do I need to put in my application when I apply? They will do that. I would be happy to do that if somebody reached out to me when I'm working there, because there's no conflict. You're just asking for advice. I'm not on the panel, so I'm not going to score your answer, but I can give you very useful insight as to what to put in your application. Yeah.
That's very good, Brother Jazeer. It's very useful information again. Yeah. Ada lagi, Ibu, Bapak, silakan. I think it's 10:11 now. Very, very good discussions, Brother Jazeer. Thank you very much for sharing that information to us. I think as a community, the Indonesian Muslim community, we need to get more involved with the activities outside our own community, and together with the other Muslim community, inshallah, we can produce good work in the best possible way for our religion, inshallah. And as you mentioned, if anyone of the Indonesian community or the youth would like to get a bit of advice from you or help from you, and inshallah you will be freely available to help us, inshallah. Terima kasih sekali lagi pada bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu